Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gad, your host. This will be a Twin Flames Natal Charts analysis. I want to thank the Archangels who helped out getting the time of birth for the chart on the left, which is the male. They also came and gave some good information as well. Give me one moment. All right, to give the time, 4 archangels appeared. First one was Jophiel. You have to remember Jophiel is the Libra. And that's all about relationships, the 7th house. Following Jophiel was Raguel. Now Raguel, he's known for being the friend of God. Sagittarius energy. And he came with the scales, divine order. But the scales is also a relationship card, just like a Libra card. Archangel Gabriel came to show you whether it was AM or PM when this person was born. And then the final card was Sandalphon, but the card is, and that's Pisces energy. Archangel Gabriel is moon energy, but Sandalphon, Pisces energy, is gifts from God. So this gentleman, if it's the same person, if he has a strong Leo energy, because I did readings for her before, and there's always a strong Taurus and Leo energy. And one time she sent me an email about a dream she had, and immediately after her email, if you have Yahoo, you may see all those different Yahoo news stories in your window pane of your email. And immediately it was a woman of a similar persuasion as the woman who had just sent me the email, and it had the big old thing about Lion King. So I wrote her immediately. I emailed her and said, you know, you have a strong Leo presence. And she said, yeah, you told me that before. So this is why we're here. Main reason. And to get this twin flames information. As I said, his chart is on the left. So he is a Taurus. Let's see what his numerology is. 25, 25. See, that's interesting. Remember, whenever you see the number 5, that could be Taurus energy, the Pope, Hierophant card. And that's all about spirituality as well as relationships, marriage. But it could also be 5, the 5th house of the zodiac, which is Leo. Leo rules that. So, first thing we'll do is look at the 25, 25. And again, even 2 plus 5 with numerology is 7. And that can still connect you to Libra, to 7th house, which is Jophiel. Relationships. And also remember that planet Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. Give me a moment. And the woman's whose chart is to the right, number 5 follows her as well. 505. Okay, Archangel number 2525 is about time to make positive changes in your life, let go of old ways, release old doubts, fears, and perceived obstacles. Look forward to wonderful new opportunities and adventures. Everything happens for a reason. Nothing happens by chance. You have to just trust that all will fall in place for you. Because you have to break from old restraints and constraints. Fully pursue your soul mission and life purpose. So any change coming about is to bring about a more spiritual you. Remember, like I said, at the end of the day, Taurus energy is the Hierophant card, number 5. That's the Pope card, the Tarot card. So they're telling him to stay balanced. Again, and that's why you saw Jophiel, because that's about balance. And then the second card. And you got to remember, Raguel is also the law card. The card that came is also the law card. Divine order, and he's showing you the scales of justice. But it's also a relationship card. So they're telling him to stay balanced and focused. The Jophiel card that came is the outdoors card. The Raguel card that came is a divine order card. Gabriel was the creative writing card, and Sandalphon was the gifts from God card. All right, his first house, his rising sign, and his true north node is Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules the ninth house. It's all about belief systems, religion, philosophy, class. Like if you say that person has a lot of class, culture, long distance, could be a foreign speaking person, a foreigner, connected to a foreign country in some way. in-laws, higher laws, religion, very high education, and that's the ninth house. So his first house is connected to the ninth house. First house is ruled by Aries. And if you notice, his true north node, which shows his life purpose, reason why he's here, is 19 degrees, which again is a sun sign. So when you're dealing with Aries, is the sun card. 19 degrees is the sun tarot card. So when you're dealing with the sun card with Sagittarius and Aries, that's very fiery. So this will be a very fiery, very passionate person in these areas. Now he will have a form of telepathy. He'll also be connected to a lot of things because of the Neptune Sagittarius connection. Now we'll look at a few of his numbers. Alrighty. Now, if you notice, it wasn't me. That was the first thing. 25 does have to do with doubt. Now, why am I telling you that? Because his ascendant is 6 degrees. 6 degrees is the lover's card. The number 6. Now, it could mean lovers, but it could also mean doubt. Doubt about the relationship, doubt about the person you're with, or just self-doubt. And that's 6 degrees, 33 minutes. Now, this number 33. The master number 33 is an incredibly rare vibration. It combines both master numbers 11 and 22. They say that life number 33 is considered the perfect balance between the master numbers. And there they go again, religious again. These people can become brilliant, religious, or spiritual trailblazers. Now, if you guys are staying up on not just the news you hear coming off your TV, but other news, there's a lot going on as far as in the legal world. And it's funny because that number 33 is definitely going to be part of that, because a lot of people involved with Freemasonry have that number or are connected to the number 33. but there's a lot of things being brought out. And sometimes you have people who do have religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and they don't agree with a lot of stuff that their comrades and peers are into. So what happens is a lot of these people start getting busted. And before, these matters were swept under the rug, whereas now these matters are being dealt with. So why I'm saying this is, you may have people that always had a spiritual disposition about themselves, but they couldn't do nothing about it. Because at that time, nobody wanted to hear it, and they could even get in trouble. Possibly even lose their job or lose their position practicing what they believed or trying to. Whereas now we've entered a time where these people are stepping forward and they're helping prosecute, arrest, gather information on not just these people are worse than criminals. Like I said, we just read it if you were listening. 2525, nothing is a coincidence. Nothing. Because here you have a person on this chart that definitely has a strong spiritual or religious disposition. But as we saw with the Raguel card, it may be being used in a legal way to prosecute ungodly people. And I say they're ungodly because of the crimes they've committed. So you got to remember, when you sell your soul, you don't have a soul. You had a soul, but you chose to sell it. And those are the type of people that do the most horrible things, even the children, innocent victims. And all this will be coming out more and more. Even Dr. Phil was talking about it. He had a victim on his show. So it's coming out. And the reason why the powers that be are not letting it all come out is because people will not be able to deal with it. When they finally hear about it, they won't be able to deal with it. Now remember, whenever you see me do a reading, you might say, well, what is he talking about? I can't help it if you have trouble listening. Whatever I'm talking about has to have some type of relationship to the chart. So if I'm talking about it for a reason. This is a spiritual person who's been put in a position by the universe. And I have to say this because the person that's requesting this, if they're connected with this person in any type of way, they have to be aware of this stuff. Because that's where it's going. Remember, Leo is children. That's the fifth house. That's all about the children. And Leo is very protective of his own. And if you remember, the Lion of Judah, the Messiah, Matthew chapter 19, the children tried to come to see Jesus, and immediately the disciples were like, back up, kids. He's busy. He's out here arguing with these Pharisees. Ain't got no time for you kids. And immediately Jesus was like, what are you doing? Let the kids come. So stay in touch with real news and get real information, because that's where the universe is at. And that's where really spiritual people are at. People like me. because that's where this person will be. And he may be used to bring the righteous judgment, to help bring the righteous judgment on these wicked people. Because you have to remember, the whole system is designed to help the judge, whether you realize that or not. The finality is the judge. When you finally stand between it, in front of that judge, and he says, because you did this, you've been found guilty of this, you've been found guilty of that, and then that's your last day. Because then that judge is going to give his sentencing, slam down, I think they call it a gravel, and then you'll be carried out, or the person will be carried out to serve their time, whatever the judge just sentenced them. So everybody that led up to that is helping that judge, whether they realize it or not. Person that placed the phone call, the officers that showed up, the investigating people, arresting people, the people that detain you, the people that tell you what to do once you're detained, they're all helping that judge to the day of your judgment. And then if the judgment is any form of incarceration, you're now turned over to what the Bible calls a tormentor. And now you become like property of the state and stuff like that. In many cases, a person's citizen rights were taken or limited. They had to work. They could only make like $1, like $1. You might get a check at the end of the week for like $1 or something, $2. So all this is in control of the universe, and this is why I'm saying this. And I'm getting it all out now so we don't have to keep coming back to this. But what you see here is a person with authority who's going to be basing it on spiritual. That's what we see so far. Okay, let's go back. Brilliant religious or spiritual trailblazers. These individuals are often born caregivers, and their nurturing nature allows them to devote themselves wholly to any worldly cause. Known as the master teacher, they are driven by the most unselfish goals and are responsible, supportive, and kind. They have no personal schemes and are not driven by ulterior motives. Their tender nature makes them powerful advocate for any altruist campaign. Their goal in life is to serve as many people as possible. The personality of these people are happy, kind, intelligent, loving, wise, trustworthy, gentle, compassionate, spirited, intelligent, goal-driven, and peaceful. They feel it is incredibly important to understand an issue in its entirety before striving to fix it. Though a kind spirit drives them, they are also analytical and make certain that their emotions are based on facts. They seek a harmonic balance with the world and are intelligent, energetic, and joyful to be around. So people will always reach out to this person for advice and support no matter what career they're in. They are strong leaders because of their selfless nature. They are driven solely by the concept of doing what is right. And if they do deal with doubt, and it does seem like this person may deal with doubt or has dealt with doubt in their life, they're going to have to learn how to trust their instinct. Type of career this person might be in based on their enlightened and spiritual existence, one might expect to see people with master number 333 as religious or spiritual leaders, therapists, teachers, or counselors. Many will look after the elderly, people with special needs, or young children. So that's what I told you, young children. So I'm glad they said that. Just so you know where I'm at numerologysecrets.net, master number 33. Because what I'm saying, a lot of this stuff has to do with children, and it's been going on for a long time. If you notice, since you've been on this planet, I don't care how old you are. You've seen a newspaper or whatever, missing people, missing children, missing. Some of these children end up dead. Nobody has any answers. This has been going on forever. Going on forever since I've been on this planet. So, but then you see immediately, depending on the color of the person or the neighborhood they're from, immediately crime is prosecuted immediately. So you say, how can they be so swift over here prosecuting so-called criminals, but then all this stuff is going on and nobody has no type of answers? So it doesn't take a person. You don't have to be a nuclear scientist to find out something's being covered up. And we finally have a world now that's not going to let that tolerate no more. Now you're seeing priests go to jail. You're seeing priests be exposed. And again, I want to thank my state of New Jersey, because they took a list of any pedophile priest and they made it public. So a lot of these men had to get out of Jersey. They lost a lot of money because they're still making money. These guys should be in jail, because if somebody else did the same crime, they'd be locked up. So again, this master number 33 is a person who will really be interested in children. So that's why I said everything happens for a reason. And I have that universal obligation to tell you what it really is. Not to find a way like everybody else is doing to make it profitable for myself. Because like I said, what this is going to do, you're seeing a changing world right in front of you. So these people have a nurturing spirit. They can be very empathetic in any situation. I was just watching a video last night where a person was giving an account. Because if you remember this election, right before the election, they reopened a case that they said was closed. Now, what I saw last night was they claimed a tape was found with this person. I won't say what was on the tape, but I will say it did have to do with the occult, Satan worship, but also horrific, even murderous abuse to young ones. And it was a finding of that tape that led to them reopening the investigation. And this is right before the election. And it might have been that situation that helped shift that election. But they say that the investigators that saw the tape, because we're talking about empathy. So they were throwing up, they were crying, and they were just unbelievably. And these are investigators. These men are trained. But the empathy they saw. So, but that's the righteous justice and righteous indignation any officer or any official should have, if we're going to talk about justice and righteousness. So they say this person at number 33, they can be very loving. They're capable of giving unconditional love and support. I know for a fact Sagittarius are unbelievably great friends, and they can help you heal. So these people can be excellent spouses and parents. So these people have a higher purpose and commitment. Their emotions can be extreme and unpredictable. And I noticed when I saw that Uranus retrograde, so they have to really find balance in their inner spirit. Now remember, the first card that came out was Jophiel, and that's all about balance. That's your Libra card. So they will have inner trouble though, and they have to learn how to confront their inner troubles first. They have to find their own foothold on their own spiritual connections, their own spiritual connections. Because until then, the bigger picture can't unfold. So they have to learn how to find peace when being pummeled by others' issues can be a heavy burden. So they're kind of implying that this person will be so much deep into taking on other people's concerns that they don't really deal with their own issues. And I actually have another client, similar situation. Because her spouse is a police officer. And she and I have talked about, they're always serving, and they're all caught up in other people's problems. If you think about it, even like when they got to do the police report and write all that stuff down, you're getting deeply involved with other people's, And to be honest with you, see, I'm a spiritual person. A lot of these people have like evil spirits and stuff, and that's energy, and that transmits. That's why they say bad association. So if this was a spiritual world, anybody that's in that type of position, they would have to, like, how they say detox, but they would have to go to places I'm just gonna call it de-energize, because you have to get that stuff off of you. Even when you watch these people out here on YouTube, these psychic and card readers, they use sage, They use a lot of stuff to clear that energy out. Because otherwise it can build up. So they say that'll be the hardest thing this person's going to have to do, because they're always taking on other people's energies and stuff. And they say that could lead to extreme stress for them. But they said another thing they may try to do is take on every issue at once. All right. So that tells you a lot internally. Now, like I said, any type of Neptune, Sagittarius connection makes a person. It's like the clairvoyance, clairsentience, but it's higher. And that's why if you used to watch like 1970 cop shows or whatever, and they almost seem like they're almost psychic, like they can kind of get hunches and stuff. But Neptune works on your subconscious mind. It works on your dreams, planet Neptune, which is right there. But only it's retrograde, so that can be the escapist. And you want to be careful with, you know, escapism. I'll give you a perfect example. Now, when I was a little kid, young kid, my best friend's father was a police officer. Now, we were always over there playing in the house and stuff like that. But he had a relative that would come from New York. And every time, like it was his nephew or something, every time the relative would come, something would end up missing. And he would blame us. And we would be mad, and I would be saying to myself, like, you're a police officer. Don't you realize every time he comes, something's missing? Do the math. But he was never gonna accept that because that was his family. So he was never gonna accept that. That's escapism. Now, the good thing is now we talk a little bit about karma. Since I said that, with all due respect. Now, one night, we were all sitting out at this house. We were just sitting out there, and a cop car pulled up. And the cops got out and accused us of some crap we didn't do. So we were pissed off. But those cops didn't know that his father was like their superior officer. So he told his father, and the father set those cops straight. So that's karma. We get accused for some crap we didn't do by this guy who's a police officer, and then but he still looked out for us later on. All right, so his east point. Now remember that the AC is the ascendant. The sun, where the sun was going over the horizon when he was born. The EP is the east point, where the sun was over the ecliptic when he was born. And if you notice, his true north node 19 degrees is the sun card, but 18 degrees is the moon card. But then at 15 degrees is the 15 minutes. 18 degrees, 15 minutes could be the devil card, which is all about bondage. And we already learned what that bondage was. It's kind of a guy that's so busy helping everybody with their demons that he's not dealing with his. And that escapism is not good, because then you don't want to deal with it, which means it'll get worse. And like I said, for some reason, he's also dealing with inner doubt. And then at number 8 degrees, that could be like, again, the Leo card. The Strength card is Leo energy, but it could also be the Justice card. It all depends on which tarot deck you're using. And 8 could also be karma. It could also be business. It could also be something to the 8th house. All right, now with Capricorn in the 2nd house, this is a person who may, somehow made a business out of financial matters. Because Capricorn represents career and reputation. And the 2nd house is ruled by Taurus, but it deals with finances, possessions, value system. Lilith retrograde is a really internal. For that, in the 2nd house with Capricorn, it's just internal. So because that's his reputation, he may, because like remember they say he's dealing with doubt. He's dealing with doubt, and sometimes that's how people feel. Well, if I have the best whatever or the whatever, then that makes them feel better because they're dealing with doubt. Aquarius in the 3rd house. Again, this is all about, really, the 3rd house is about the brotherhood or the people around you and communication, publishing, and all that. Creativity. But with Aquarius there, it's all about the people. Now, the reason why this is going to be tough for a relationship, because both Gemini and Aquarius, they want their freedom, and Gemini doesn't want to go deep. So that's why I gave you that example. That's why I said a lot of times it's about listening. Because what humans do, they just go, oh, is it my twin or not? Is it my twin? What? And they're not listening. And you don't understand it. Until you learn how to think, you'll never get to, you're not going to have nothing. This is what you'll have. You'll have a quick relationship that's going to end. Or it's going to be some type of infidelity or whatever. Because you never learned how to think or build character. Like, that's why, you're in a matrix that keeps you dumbed down, and people don't realize that. Like, they know to make a lot of money, they know stuff like that, but that's all childish. You got to build character, because it's the character that's going to keep you in a situation when things get rocky and stuff like that. Because this person here in the third house, they don't want to necessarily go deep. So that's people who, like I said, he didn't want to look at the fact that, you're a police officer. If you were investigating, you would know this is the top he'd be the number one suspect. Every time this guy comes in, something goes missing. We're in your house every day, nothing goes missing. But every time this guy goes, something goes missing. So it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to come here and figure out what's going on. But he wouldn't do it. Escapism, don't want to look at it. He's not going to question family. And now, just so people can get a better idea of my closeness to the situation, I would be there when his wife was treating him like garbage. And unfortunately, she was murdered. The guy is still locked up. That's going over 30 years. He's still locked up. He's on death row. Now, that client I was talking to, the reason why me and her were talking, because there were a whole lot of officers that were shooting their wives. So I was talking to her about that, and we were studying stuff on her chart and stuff like that. So when I would go over to my best friend's house to see him, he wouldn't be there, but the father would be. So his father used to beat me up. But back then, that's just how it was. If you went to school, teachers beat you up. When I came up, it was way more physical, I think. And you couldn't, because you couldn't call, nobody was going to come help you. But the reason why I let his father sit there and beat me up, because I would watch his wife just destroy him. She would just go out of her way to just destroy this man. And he would tell me a lot of stuff. He would tell me about, which was kind of funny because he was very light skinned. Like these people they were mixed. They were mixed like with German and if you want to say black. But he was very light skinned, but even though they still wouldn't promote him. And he was real mad about that. And I told him to fight. Because I was always a smart kid. I was never no dummy. So I would tell him to fight. I said, well, fight for it. He said, if you got to fight for it, it's not worth having it. So he wanted, he wanted his precinct, to call him in and honor him, but they were never going to do it because of racism. And they're still fighting that today. Even now, there's a local charge that a recent officer made. They're still fighting that today, but this township has always had a problem with race. So that's what I mean about people not addressing their issues or their demons. Because like I said, everybody wants a love story, but with every love story, like with every West Side story, there's going to be a Tony getting shot at the end of it. And what's the other one? The Titanic, that was a tragic love story. So people out here on YouTube, they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear goofy stuff, bubblegum astrology. But if you don't prepare for the bumps, what's going to happen when they hit you? So on his chart so far, you do see that he'll have a lot of internal stuff. He's a great guy though so far. A great guy, but he's got a lot of internal stuff. So like I said, in the 5th house, and 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. Jupiter, which is all about finance and expansion or good fortune. And that's what that's called, good fortune. So implying that he just wants to be happy externally. He wants to help other people be happy. But again, like I said, neither one of these signs want to go deep. Aquarius don't want to hear it if you try to go deep. And Gemini, they're the same way. Fourth house, very spiritual. He probably comes from a spiritual family. And there's Juno at 6 degrees. And he's another master number. I don't even know if 55 is going to be on there. But 55 is still a master number. Remember, 5 and 5 is 10, but it's a restart. It goes back to 1. Nope. I think the highest one, but 66 is a master number too. But I think the highest one they're going to go to is 44. They don't go to 55. But to me, like I said, that's more twin stuff, 5-5, and also it's a restart. And you got to remember that your number, you got that 505. Your 5-5 follows you. So that's his Juno, 5-5, and 6 degrees. So that's a lover's card, because Juno is who he'll be in a serious relationship with. It'll either be a Pisces or a Cancer. And both of y'all are Tauruses, so you have to be careful with stubbornness and bullheadedness. See, your Venus is in your Cancer at 0 degrees, and you got that master number 33 right there. See, that's why you see me kind of looking at the numbers and stuff. Just so you know, I didn't mention it, but the number 27 is just a diplomatic person. And Jupiter used to rule Pisces, but now Jupiter rules Sagittarius. But whenever you see Jupiter in the 12th house, which is ruled by Pisces, that means the person has a guardian angel. And as long as they do good for others, they'll always be protected. Like, they'll never have a problem with money or problems, because the guardian angel will protect them and look out for them. And that's at 13 degrees, which is the Scorpio energy, which is the death card. And then the moon is at 21 degrees, which is the world card, which is like the mother, which is karmic. And then you see 21 degrees and the number 6 again. So again, you see what I just said. Spiritual family, spiritual household, spiritual minded. As long as he stays on those areas, he really can't go wrong. And all those planets are protecting him. Jupiter and the moon. All right, let's continue. Now, whenever you have the moon in the 4th house, that definitely represents the mother. This is Imam Coeli. That's the mother in the subconscious mind. The moon rules Cancer. Cancer rules the 4th house. Now, his 5th house, very interesting. Venus and Aries. So, definitely an aggressive pursuit to love and fun. You can see the number 22, which is twin flame number. Very healing for him. 24 is the return number. You're going to see 24 in his Libra as well. That's all about return. 13, so you see that 13 again. You see it with Jupiter and Venus. But that is the death card. That is Scorpio energy. And 16 degrees is like Mars. So when you have Mars and or Aries in the 5th house, I just warn, it's not always, because it could just be about passion, but sometimes it could be about anger, violence, and even hurting children, because children are in the 5th house. But either way, his relationships that he's going to really be involved with have to be kind of extreme. And remember, Aries rules the 1st house. So whatever I said about the 1st house will probably also be evident in the 5th house. And definitely a fiery person. You could already say. That's why I said they kept showing Leo primarily. Sixth house, very earthy. Sixth house is ruled by Virgo. Now keep in mind, we've already did the 25-25. Sixth house is ruled by Virgo, an earth sign. Earth sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Sixth house has to do with health, service, healing, young children, small animals, daily activities, co-workers, subordinates. All right. Just give me a moment. So they're saying Taurus in the 6th house is somebody who may be able to gain financially from efforts done in the home. And they say this person will probably be pretty healthy. So they say this is a very hardworking person. This person probably does a lot in their day. And they're going to be bringing the work home. And they're so busy that they really don't get a lot of rest and relaxation. And that's what we were saying to my other client, because we were just analyzing why, so many officers shoot their wives and stuff like that. And just like we said earlier, this person is so busy helping everybody else that they're not really taking care of themselves. So that's the 6th house, and we already showed you the 25-25, which could also be the 7-7. So Gemini in the 7th house, both with Mercury. And believe it or not, that Mercury there does make a difference, because Mercury really does like to communicate. Gemini in the 7th house is also, they're both communication, because Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. But just because you have Gemini in the 7th house does not necessarily mean the person really likes to talk. Because Gemini could be real short with stuff. But with Mercury and Gemini in the 7th house, then so that's a good sign. And that's why I say, because a lot of times I think what happens is people always say, oh, why did they break up or this and that. But people don't realize they both have an obligation to the relationship. So that means even if the guy had something going on, like, she's supposed to be there for him too. And I think that's why a lot of relationships go wrong, especially when you're dealing with something like this. Because this person's he's gonna be under pressure all the fucking time. So it's kind of messed up if, something happens with him emotionally or psychologically, and right away somebody else is throwing in the towel. So I think it's a good thing that he wants to communicate. Nine degrees is the Virgo energy. That's a person who sees life from their own viewpoint. 7 is the Chariot. That's Cancer energy. The reason why that's there because of his mother. You can already see it in his 4th house. So he's driven because of how she raised him and how he has a lot of love and respect for her. But he still wants to talk though. Your 7th house is all about relationships, business, contracts, agreements, legal matters, court, open enemies, and I think cemeteries as well. But what we want to take a look at is Mercury in Gemini. Everybody that wants to talk about Mercury and Gemini is like a psychic. Yeah, this is Sun in Taurus, Mercury in Gemini. This is good. And there's a video on YouTube called "The Best Writers." It says Mercury and Gemini, and they're showing you Tupac Shakur. They're the best writers. So that's why Gabriel came out, the Moon card, because he said creative writing. So again, if he's writing, he may want you to see his stuff. See, this is what I say. This is what people do that separates the any form of togetherness. Because I got family and everything. I got relatives, and that's how it is. Because you'll do something and they may not read it, or you might get a book published, they don't read it. That separates, and that's why I'm trying to tell you. Everybody wants this bubblegum astrology. You want to go to astrology and ask all these questions, and you think that's just going to make your relationship work. And then if it doesn't, or if your relationship has challenges, then you tap out or get another boyfriend or girlfriend or go to another reader or something. It's not real. It's bubblegum astrology. You don't really want answers, because if you really wanted answers, you would actually apply the answers once you get them. You would slow down and actually listen to the information. But this is bubblegum. There's like very immature people that act very immaturely, and that's why they run from me. But here you have a person that really does want to communicate. So you have to show interest in the communication, because he may not just come. When I say he wants to communicate, I'm not saying doesn't mean he'll come out and talk about it. He may not, but he is writing and whatever he's doing. But he does want. That's why you see the mother there. He does want that input. That's why I say when people really understand what a relationship is, this is not no BS. That's how I tell you about immature people, because they think it's Ken and Barbie. Because if you remember Barbie, she has everything. So what she does with Ken, she calls Ken when she wants Ken. Oh, Ken, I want to go out, so take me out. Ken, I'm hungry, take me to the restaurant. Ken, let's go out dancing. But then when Barbie wants to go out with her girlfriends and party and act like a hoe, then she takes Ken and puts him back in the chest. Oh, Ken, go back in the chest, and put him in the chest and close the door. Close the lid of the chest. So if you have a relationship where both don't mind that type of activity, then they both agree to it. They don't mind. But some people don't want that. They want a person who's really going to be a stronghold. And what happens nowadays, they go, oh, that's being too needy. But it's not too needy. You're expecting somebody to stop who they are to be with you. So you're supposed to be there for them. And like I said, everybody's different, because some people don't need all that, but some people do. They need the communication. They need you to really want to get to know them. For some people, a date is not just taking you out to eat. A date could be sitting somewhere on the beach talking about growing up, the pros and cons of your family, your parents. Like really getting to know, like they used to do it way back in old days. And I'm sure some people still do it now, but not too many. All right, so let's do it. Mercury and Gemini. So this is Sun in Taurus, Mercury and Gemini. So we got two of them that we're gonna do. And I used to watch the police officer trying to talk to his wife, and she was just mean. She was mean to us too. She was just mean. Looking back now that I'm older, I don't think she meant to be that mean, but she really could come off as a mean person. Alright, the person born with Mercury and Gemini has a type of purely logical mind that cannot see why human beings insist upon making so much trouble for themselves. But what's unique about this guy, he may feel that way, but he's out there trying to help and solve those problems. They are convinced that if they would only behave reasonably and look at their problems realistically, most of their suffering might be avoided. But see, most people like bubblegum astrology, like you see out here on YouTube. They'll run. Like the Bible says, they'll run, going to and fro, and they just like they don't care. It's a really dumbed down, childish mind frame. It says these people are frustrated that these other people don't run their lives more intelligently. So it says when you have Mercury and Gemini, it's like Mercury being more like the boss, but like you got Elijah and Elisha, Elijah and Elisha. You got the prophet and you got the protege. So they say this person can take in two different things at one time because it's Mercury and Gemini. The master. Well, you have the master of multitasking and the master of communications. Awesome. And really, this is about balance in relationships. But I'm telling you right now, he's got to get it. You got to input it though. See, one good thing about having Mercury and Gemini in your seventh house, it's going to kind of balance out what's going on in the third. Because in the third house, this dude he doesn't really want no long stuff. And just to let you know, a Gemini, like they don't like they'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" When they say how you doing, they hope you just go, "Oh, I'm doing fine," because they really don't want to hear about your uncle. They really don't want to hear about your dog. They really don't want to hear all that. Gemini just don't want it. Gemini does not want to go deep. Like if you say, "Oh, so and so's house burned down," the Gemini will say, "Oh, okay," and want to give you some money, but they don't need to know all the details. Like they really don't want to hear all the details. Now, when a Gemini does want to hear the details, it's like if they meet somebody and they're thinking about going out with that person or dating that person, then they want to hear details. But the only reason why they want to hear details because they want to make sure that they're not getting into something that they're going to have to get out of quickly. Because Gemini's are known for diving in and diving out. If you study Tupac, if you see how many different record labels or whatever Tupac was doing, he was jumping around from here to that's what Gemini's do. And then even when he was on death row, a lot of people don't know he was trying to get off. Like a lot of people want you to think he was death row for life or whatever, but he wasn't. He was trying to get the hell out of death row. He was trying to start his own stuff. So that's a plus to have Mercury and Gemini in the 7th house, because at least he'll want to talk. So they say this person will have a very rational mind, at least in the 7th house. Now remember, we're talking about the 7th house, so what I'm about to say does not necessarily apply to the rest of the chart. Because it says that this person's thinking is neither instinctive, such as the moon, Mars, or Venus, but nor is the person's thinking intuitive, such as Uranus and Neptune. But this is strictly irrational as they can make it. Now the danger of that is, that's the whole point of God doing what he did. You got the female and you got the male. These are two different people. They're not going to think the same way, nor are they going to act the same way. And in the old days, there was a major mistake where a man thought, I'm going to take a woman, she's going to be my wife, and blah, blah, blah. And then through all the hell that we put each other through, now we're here. 2019, we're about to be out of 2019. But now that it's totally different. Now most men that have a logical mind don't think like that anymore. It's like, she's her own person. It is what it is, and you're gonna have to get used to it, whether you like it or not. It's not gonna be no. This is my wife. She's with me, and this is my house and my family, and blah blah blah. That stuff sounds like a dinosaur. There might be some families out there that still do that in America, but I don't know how many. But most of them are like what I just said, even if they act like they're not. Even if the man tries to act like he's in control. But we all know that he's not. It's more like yes, dear, one way or another. So it's a different world. So it's not going to be a highly rational mind in the 7th house. And sometimes when you're dealing with a traditional, I'm speaking mostly from the West, like USA. But everybody's not really from USA, or people have connections to family in other countries. So they may not see it that way. They may still see like a kind of traditional family. That's why I said it all depends on the people. But in his 7th house, he's going to be very rational. And again, that could be hard because he may be like, okay, you should be doing this. Because that's what happens with a lot of police officers, because they're disciplined. They're very disciplined men. And so they expect their wife to kind of understand that. But sometimes she doesn't. Or she just gets frustrated because she's sick of being home, never seeing him. Or when she does see him, he's extremely tired or whatever. Or they may make plans and then he gets a phone call and they get. So she's sick of it. So she doesn't want to support. She doesn't want to do what she thought was her part because she's just sick of him never being there. And he's too busy to understand that. And so it only gets worse. Because like I said, an officer really needs, like I said, that spiritual sag or whatever. But he needs that detox and get all that other energy off of him. That's one thing. And then for marriage, they really need that whole communication and how can we make this work without self-destruction or hating each other. And nobody, that's why I said we live in a world where obviously nobody cares. And the one guy that does, look at my views. Nobody gives a fuck. So that's why we're in a cesspool of self-destruction. So again, in the seventh house, see, it's good in the seventh house if he communicates both ways, like if he listens and communicates. But he may not. In the seventh house, he may say, "Hey, listen, I'm the man, you're the woman. Uh, this is how it should be. Uh, this is the most rational way." Because a woman, she's still going to want to be doing what women do. It's just the way it is. But he might feel like, okay, but you're in a relationship with me, so boom, boom, boom. So how she normally would be, he may want to tone down a little bit. Because logically speaking, I'll give you one example, because I don't feel like getting into this. I'll give you one example. He may say, well, if you're in a relationship with me, that means you're in a committed relationship, and therefore you need to dress like it and act like it. You can't be dressing like you're single. You can't. And nowadays, especially in this country, that would be like almost trying to put a chain on her, and she really ain't trying to have that. And like I told you, some people will say, okay, he's right, I'll do it. But once they start to have problems, she's not going to stick to that because she's going to be pissed off. So that's what I mean about the seventh house is going to be difficult if that's how he's going to view it. You can't view the seventh house as rational. Everybody's not going to be masculine. So you got feminine energy. Feminine energy is more like the wind. Masculine energy is more like a tree. A heavy, thick tree. That's masculine energy. It's almost immovable. Feminine energy is like the wind. All over the place. When you read John chapter 3, that's what you're looking at. Nicodemus represents masculine energy. He wants standards. He wants rules. He wants everything to make sense. But if you notice, John chapter 3 is talking about the woman. And then that's when Jesus said the wind. And basically Jesus said the wind goes where it wants to. You can't tell the wind what to do. So what you have there is a debate between the masculine and the feminine. And in the seventh house, that could get really ugly. And the mistakes she'll make, which a lot of women make, if you know that's not really who you are, don't do it trying to make him happy, because that's your first mistake. See, I have a friend of mine. Let me tell you, one of my best male friends, he had a friend. And I knew her too. She was my friend too, but they were close. Him and her were real close. We all went to high school together. And she married an officer right here in this township. And he killed her. And when he shot her in broad daylight. He was surrounded by police stations from all over. Because like I said, where I live, where I think most people, all you got to do is cross the street. Like this might be one township. But if you just cross the street, now you're in somebody else's township. And if you cross the street that way, you're in somebody else's township. So something could happen when you have 3 or 4 different police from different townships in the same spot. And that's what happened with him. And he had his gun out and everything. And he was a ranking officer. And so they kept telling him to put the gun down, but he wouldn't. And he killed his wife in broad daylight. And he's still alive now. And he still talks about it. He gives interviews and everything. I don't think he's been sentenced yet. Of course he's still in jail. But his own children are saying he should get life in prison for what he did. And some of his kids were right there when it happened. He just shot through the car. He chased her. Like, you know how police do on stakeouts? He did a stakeout. He knew what street she would be on. And he kept telling her, I'm going to get her. She knew he was going to get her, and the kids knew it. But they thought he wasn't going to really carry it out. So, but that's why I said you don't agree to anything. Because the way he's going to see it, well, when I met her, she said she'd do it. Then all of a sudden, she doesn't want to do it. And he's going to look at her like she's wicked and doesn't have any character, or he can't trust her. When really, she's not you. You can't expect a woman to act like a man. That's the biggest mistake men make. But that's old school thinking. Oh, you're going to be with me, and we're going to do this, and us, and all. But it's not. It's like one is a tree. I'm trying to tell you all the truth. The man is always going to be like the tree. He could be fixed, like the dog. But the woman is a cat. She's going to purr. She's going to crawl around. She's more sociable. It's just the way it is. There are men that can get used to that, and they don't have a problem dealing with that. Some men can't. But unfortunately, if you're dealing with the modern world that we're in now, you better be able to deal with it. Because you have to be able to deal with stuff. It's a compromise. Sometimes it's letting go. Sometimes you can confront, but sometimes you can't. Because sometimes you will literally almost be arguing every day. And this is what I mean about jumping into stuff when you're really not ready. Because you should never do anything serious until you get to that point. Because otherwise, what you have is they jump in and then they're not ready. So in the seventh house, they'll be going facts speak for themselves, but you're not dealing just with facts. You're dealing with emotions and just like I said, one day a woman might wake up, she might want to dress a certain way. She might wake up another day just want to dress a certain way. She might wake up one day and want to do it this way. She might wake up another day and don't want to do it that way. And it can't be logical because it's not going to be logical. And then you're wasting your time wondering why, because she's not you. That's the only answer that you really. That's the only answer. She's not you. She's not. She's never going to perceive how you see it. And just to make you happy, she may agree to it, but that's not really how she feels. And eventually, it's going to come out one way or another. And that's the first thing any man that's going to be in a long-term relationship with a female has got to realize. Because otherwise, that relationship ain't going nowhere. And it's going to end one way or another, or it's going to be some form of immorality, infidelity, or something. So in his seventh house, that would be the first thing he'd have to learn. It's not going to be logical. Don't ever try to make the seventh house logical. The seventh house is supposed to be about love and relationship, communication and compromise. Yes, dear. Get used to it, fellas. Yes, dear. Because you're either going to say yes, dear to her or yes, sir to the judge when he takes over half of your shit. Silly boy, silly boy. And they say these people are compulsive. Mercury and Gemini, they are compulsive because they want to find out why things behave the way they do. But a woman doesn't want that in the seventh house. She just wants to go. Like, let me tell you, one time I was out with a Kenyan, my Kenyan girlfriend. And she was kind of depressed about something. So first we went to one store. So she was in that store, and then I went down. I think I went down to a technical store. It was the same plaza, but she and I, because she and I used to always be together. So she was in we were in the store together, but then I had to go to the technical, so I went down. So I was in there for a while, and when I came out of the parking lot, it was this female, and she was looking good. I was like, oh shoot, she looked real good, and I was looking at her and stuff, and it was mine. But she had changed her clothes and shit. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is that's a female. Anything could happen at any given freaking time. You got to be able to deal with that. You can't analyze it. Now, if you want to analyze it, she felt bad. She was depressed, and just to feel better, she brought something and she just put it on that day, that moment. But that made her feel better. So you're dealing with feelings. It's not going to be logical. You can't be compulsive. You can't understand that there is no rationalization for that. And if you don't understand that, you don't need to be dating anybody because that's what you're going to be dealing with. So that's not cool for the seventh house. So they say this person, Mercury, Gemini, any type of mystery is going to irritate them because they want to know. But you can't do that in the seventh house. That's horrible in the seventh house. Like I said, I feel sorry because I care. And that's how I get myself in trouble. See, if I didn't care, if I just came out here and ripped people off like everybody else does, I'd be probably one of the richest men on the planet. Because I know how it was when I first came out here. But I care. But you don't want to put yourself in a situation. Just like I said, when you get these readings, what you're really supposed to do with them is apply them. So that when you get with this person, you can actually have real communication that's going to help your relationship. It's called maturity. Now, it might be a couple of bumps in the beginning, but overall it's going to work out because from the door, you told the truth. He can't be mad at you if you told the truth from the beginning. And that way you're showing him that you're really serious, that you really want this to work. But if you agree in the beginning and then you try to change later on, in his mind, you're a liar. That's how he's going to see it. He may never say it with his mouth, but in his mind, wow, she said all this and now she's changing on me. And he may feel a certain way about it. Now he's looking at you totally different. I mean, you got to understand, this is a police officer that probably has pulled that gun out on a whole bunch of people, but he didn't shoot him. So why would he shoot his own wife? For whatever reason. But that's why, for these reasons I'm trying to tell you. That's why I said, all that bubblegum stuff, that wax stuff, all that little kitty, little childish, no form of maturity whatsoever. But then you think everything's it's not gonna work when you're running from it. It's only gonna work when you actually let's communicate. And as long as you're telling a person, I really want this to work. I mean, who wouldn't? Where I'm at right now, from day one, I never lied. Listen, I got a lot going on. This is a situation. I'm a caregiver, some stuff. But when a lot's going on, been alive for a while, so there's always something going wrong. Boom, boom, boom. That's what it is. But they also see me work really hard when I'm there. But I can't be everywhere and can't do everything, so it's no sense in me going, yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, right away, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, yeah. You can count on me, sir. Because the moment they find out they can't count on you, your ass is out of there. So right away, this is horrible for the 7th house, just to let you know. The good thing is the communication, but that's why in the beginning, you want to communicate in the beginning. And you communicate by saying, I really want this to work. I really want, but you know, I do astrology, the chart, whatever. And this Mercury, Gemini, boom, boom, boom. But it's out front, it's in the open, and it's in the beginning. So the person can't say, well, she came one way and then she changed. He can't say that because in the beginning, you let the person know. Because they say this person in the Mercury and Gemini in the 7th house, they keep their ideas sorted, defined. They make it a point to avoid people whose intellect fail to grasp concepts that to them seem patently obvious. But again, it's not obvious in the 7th house. There's nothing going to be obvious about the 7th house. That's the relationship house. See, what you're reading is a dictator. He's going, oh, remember I said Gabriel, creative writing? Oh, a relationship should be like this. Oh, this should be like this. Oh, she should do this. Oh, and I'll do this. And you did. This is the way it should be. That's a dictatorship because when he communicates, he's communicating with his dictation, telling you what he thinks it should be. He's not communicating, saying, hey, what do you think? How can we make this work for both of us? So you just got to be careful. Because, you know, it's your thing, you have to find out on your own. But you just got to be careful. But again, this is not me saying it. I'm reading what the experts say. See, listen to this. People with Mercury and Gemini long to be free as the air. Okay, but that's the 7th house. That's what I said when I said Gemini and the third. When I said Aquarius in the 3rd house, ruled by Gemini. So they must circulate. They have to exchange ideas with, but it says compatible thinkers. Like in other words, they're expecting you to agree. Like they feel like, listen, I set up all night and I made this thing work. So this is the best way to do it. But the woman might say, nah, that's not the best way for me. And then he's looking at her like, why not? I set up all night. I know this is the best way. And she's like, nah, that ain't the best way for me. Well, why not? Like, why would you change your clothes and broad? Like, why would you go in a store? How would I know where you're at? Why would you change it? Why didn't you just wait till we went home? Now, to me, I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny because I was like, wow, she's cute. But it was her. So to me, it was funny. But to somebody else, it's like, why would you do that? Couldn't you wait till you got home? You're embarrassing me. So they say this person is going to be real clever with their phrases, and they may have a unique sense of humor. So they say this person will be an excellent writer, speaker, journalist. They could also be scientific. So these people can be brilliant. So like I said, it just does you. It does you. You just have to communicate. Don't just agree because he really wants it, but try to do it in the beginning so that he'll never be able to say, oh, she said one thing in the beginning and now she's saying something else. Try not to do that in the beginning. Let him know. I think he'll be able to adjust. I really do, but not if you make that mistake. A lot of people make. Oh, sure, no problem. Oh, no. Oh, I agree. When you know you don't agree. You should tell him straight up because what he's doing, he's like a computer. Because I'm a Gemini. My ascendant is a Gemini. It's like a computer. Like you're taking in information, you're trying to process information, but you got to remember that people are emotional. They're not going to act the way you think. And I've done that. I've sat through church services, all that, and everybody will go, "Amen, yes, amen, yes, yes, the Lord comes first, amen." But then they're gonna get up and do what the fuck they want to. And what are you gonna do? Get mad, get upset? You gonna start throwing stuff over like Jesus did? What are you gonna do? So they said a Gemini needs someone that can bring their ideas down to earth. That would be you. That's why I said don't lie. Don't just agree. If you don't agree, tell them why not. It doesn't. And like a lot of times people want to argue. That's cool sometimes because like I understand planet Earth now. People just don't want to grow up. I understand that now. It took me a while to get there. Like I said, it's the whole Gemini thing. But everything doesn't have to be a freaking argument. You just don't agree. Tell him. Because he understands you're supposed to be part of him. And that's how a male thinks. That's how a male would think. He's supposed to be part of you. The point being made is, but if you don't talk, if you don't say, well, I see it this way, or maybe so they say somebody has to bring his ideas down to earth and also help him learn how to make like material advantage. Because they say he's more like an air sign, so he's more up in the air thinking about everything and trying to make everything work out to his perfection. But he doesn't learn how to apply that to bills got to be paid and stuff like that. And like I said, I had that same problem before I met with the Archangels. Before I got my Archangel cards, I was the same way. So Mercury and Gemini, they don't not necessarily in the seventh house. He's not really he don't want everybody in his business. I mean, he might try to exchange ideas with people. So this person is able to think very quickly, a multitask expert. But this is what happens. He makes quick decisions, but then he doesn't follow through because his mind is always changing. Like I told you, Geminis they don't go deep. And it says sometimes they'll deny it. Like they'll say, okay, blah, 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 we'll do it this way, okay, but then something, no, we're gonna go this way, we'll go this way, we'll go that way. I didn't say that. I did not say that. So that could piss somebody off too. You did say it. So, and I have the same problem because I love to talk. So people think I'm trying to lie. So they say this person people may not like him or believe him because he's always talking to something. It sounds like a salesman. So the Gemini could also be impatient. They said especially with people that are slower turns of mind. Now that's one thing I did, and it paid off. Because when I was younger, I was always out in ministry. But one thing I did, I always had old people. I always went to see the old people. I sat with the old people. Now I don't want to say babysit, but I sat with the old people. I would visit the old people in the hospital. That's one. I think that's probably the best thing I did. But the reason why I did it was selfish, because I knew one day I would be old and I would need somebody to look after me. So now I got health problems and stuff like that. I do see that. I do see how things have worked out. But that's because when I was younger, I knew that. Because they're saying this type of person might be, they have no patience for like slower people, or people that don't think as fast as they do. But that's one thing my ascendant is a Gemini, but that's one thing I wasn't that way. I've always loved to be around older people. They say this person's kind of like a fast talker. They could talk their way out of tricky situations. And they say this person might try to be cunning or crafty. But they have to avoid being superficial. Now this is Sun in Taurus, Mercury in Gemini. See, this is why I get pissed off, because as soon as I'm getting ready to go out there, I got to get ready to go outside. Now you hear that horn going off. This stuff happens all the freaking time. Alright, Sun in Taurus, Mercury in Gemini. So Taurus is slow, steady, patient. But Mercury or Gemini, quick thinking. So they say this person may be less stubborn. Mercury is going to add adaptability, versatility, without sacrificing Taurus's sense of purpose and determination. Yeah, Tauruses can be very patient, and they're also sensual as well. They're essential to the five senses and things. So a Sun in Taurus, Mercury in Genocide, a Sun in Taurus, Mercury in Gemini will take less a conventional, more up-to-date outlook on life and be able to reassess their opinions with the passing of time. And the superficialness of Mercury is less likely. So there you have it. All right, when you see Cancer in the 8th house, this is some type of soul family type of stuff. But you can see it's very extreme. Saturn's going to make it very karmic, and that could be a mom-dad situation. 15 is bondage. Mars is the war. So he definitely has some family issues there. And you see that number 27 again. But also 27 degrees, 20 minutes, 20 is the judgment of Pluto energy. And this is the 8th house, ruled by Pluto and Scorpio. And that's also his vertex, 27. So he may have some type of relationship with a Cancer, just like I said before. And your Venus is Cancer, like I said before. And also you see that Gemini again, because your Cancer is in the 3rd house, which is Gemini. Well, let me see. Well, it's still your 3rd house. But it's gonna be intense though. That's why I said you got to be careful, because now you got Mars and Cancer. I told you, anywhere where there's children, when you see Mars or Aries, be careful, because even he could have been some type of abuse. And you have the Saturn right there, which is usually the father, in the Cancer, and the Moon in the Cancer is usually the mother. So he may have had some extreme stuff. Like I said, this could be a lot of internal stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why people just think you're going to be in a relationship. But if you don't know the person, if you haven't gotten to talk to the person, you got to really know that. And like I said, with my Kenyan, because I'm a Leo, with my Kenyan, I was nothing but 100% extremely loyal to her. But she would repeatedly be disloyal to me and try to tear me down over and over again. That's something hard to deal with. Like even now, I wouldn't even put up with no shit like that. But back then, a lot younger, I say dumber. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. No matter what you do, there's going to be challenges. That's why it could never be bubblegum astrology. And what people do, they jump in to a situation. As soon as it gets tough on them, they either start cheating, infidelity, or they jump out and get with somebody else, and then they just keep doing it because they don't want to face reality. They don't want to grow up. They just want bubblegum astrology. They want what they want. But here in his sixth house, in his eighth house, you definitely see the turmoil. Now, you didn't see it anywhere else on his chart for the most part, but here you see it. Mars, and this is all because you should have a free report, and it tells you everything that's in the eighth house. But this is really intensity and all kind of power struggles, stalking, obsession, codependency. And 15 definitely means some form of bondage. And remember, your 8th house and your 12th house are dealing especially with your subconscious mind. So you have to be careful of. And the reason why this is going on in Cancer for you and him, because he's going to be looking for you to fill that. The mama, be whatever. Whatever family, I'm not even going to say it. Whatever family is, he's going to be looking for you to fill that because he's had trauma. This is trauma right here. 8th house. Trauma. And he's going to be looking for you to fulfill that. That's why I'm telling you again. You got to understand why. You got to say it again. No matter how stressful a police officer is, he's been in stress before. He's been in gunplay before. He's had guns pulled out before. So why does he shoot his wife? It could have been a lot of other people he pulled that gun out on. He could have shot. Why shoot the wife? Because of this stuff. Mama issues, daddy issues, and he's expecting her to be something. You should have been there for me. No matter what, you should have had my back. I'm working hard on risking my life for you. You should have had my back. So in his mind, he becomes judge, jury, and executioner. All in one in just a split second. So that vertex means fate and destiny. So he will be somebody like with that Cancer energy. And Cancer rules the 4th house, which is Leo. And that's your true north node. 24 degrees that return. His 9th house is Leo, but that's again having fun. He probably likes to travel. Because remember, they already say he has a lot of air. He's not necessarily an air sign, but he has a lot of air sign with the Geminis and Aquariuses. So, that would be like travel and stuff like that. And so, Leo's there in the 9th house. I already told you it was in the 9th house. But it's going to be a leader, somebody that's brave. 10th house career is Virgo. But Virgo, again, is home and service. Some form of service connected to the home and health. Could be small children, small animals. But again, you keep seeing that number 20. So 20 is always that 8th house Pluto energy, the judgment card. And you see 16 degrees again, which could be Mars energy, the Tower card. And medium Coeli MC always connects to wherever true north node is. So once again, it's once again saying foreign home, because Virgo represents the home, foreign home because of his true north node. Could also be higher law, believe it or not. Could be something about homeland, could be. All right, now we're not going to do your 11th house just yet because of those retrogrades. We're going to do your 12th house. Now that's an awesome 12th house because of you got Scorpio in the 12th house. But remember, that's the 8th and the 12th because Scorpio rules the 8th house. So I'm hoping somebody did a great job explaining this. because that's a lot of subconscious stuff, a lot of watery emotions. So just give me a moment because we're gonna be pulling up a few things because this is really important. See, whenever you're dealing with the 8th house and the 12th house, you're dealing with mysteries, secrets, internal stuff, who the person really is. See, all that other stuff is nice, but it's like if somebody had a cake. Now, I was going to use a word, but if I use it, you're gonna totally misunderstand what I'm trying to say. So I'm not going to use the word. It's like you have a beautiful cake, but inside of it, you understand? The outside is beautiful, taste good outside, all that, but the stuff inside, that's the stuff that's going to kill you. But I'm not saying this is the case. I'm saying you have to be aware of that. Because like I said, it's just human nature to dive in. But then years later, you wish you didn't dive in. Like don't get me wrong, because there's good and bad. It's like you might have had a terrible relationship, but you have kids. You know what I mean? And you love your kids. So these things happen in life. I understand that. But sometimes, like I'm at the point now, I've been through enough hell. So I'm not going to self dive in any more hell. Not on purpose. All right, so we're gonna deal with that 12th house a little bit because it's that important. Some people might say, you do all this work out here, you try to help out, and some people they won't even listen to it because they don't want to hear it or don't want to hear the bad. They think it's bad news or whatever. Like, I don't care. I feel like it's being done for a reason. Like I said earlier, 25 told you there's no accidents, there's no coincidences. So I always do it because somebody may hear it or may not, and you never know what's going on. Like, if you knew, many times I find out, like, a lot of stuff I do is in different countries, and different people have taken my stuff and put it in playlists and stuff. So you never really know who's listening. You just got to trust God. You can't worry about people because people are going to do what they're going to do. That's life. And I know I did my job. So if somebody does get beat up or whatever happens, at least you try to warn them. I had to stop. Somebody just sent me a thank you email. So I just want to say you're welcome. It came at the perfect timing too. But that's how the universe works. Just do what God tells you. Keep it moving. Put your trust in God. All right. All right. So yeah, definitely get the. You should have a free report. If not, I'll send it to you again. But you need the 8th house because he's definitely got he's definitely got a lot of 8th house issues and all that subconscious mind, internal. It'll get him through the dreams, all kind of stuff. And plus, Cancer in the 8th house is very susceptible to evil spirits. Just to let you know. Because like I said, I ask the questions nobody ever wants to answer. But you have to answer the one question. If these guys are trained officers and they've had guns pulled out on them, they pull guns out on people, but people don't always end up dead. So why are they so sure to kill their wife? And this is like if y'all only knew, like, in the last 2 weeks, I've seen at least 4 different accounts just in the last 2 weeks, if not more. Now, what if I started researching? That's just me looking at the news. What if I started researching? I would find out more. So me, like, I'm more logical. Like, I'm not with all that emotional stuff. Emotions is cool. Don't get me wrong, but emotions At the end of the day, all emotions do for you is this: they make you feel a certain way. You have a lot of sex, and it's just like getting high. And then you're gonna have to deal with reality. That's what I mean about bubblegum astrology. It comes a time when you're gonna have to deal with reality, and all those cowards do is tap out. They won't deal with reality. They'll run from it, cheat on their boyfriend, cheat on their girlfriend, cheat on their wife, cheat on their husband. They will never deal with it because they're cowards, and that's why they don't like me. All right. Give me a moment. So really, what I'm seeing on both of these charts, if you were in this man's life, that Cancer is big because that's what he needs. But you got to really realize how important that is to him, to his stability, him staying psychologically stable. It has a lot to do, like I said, with you. And you have to understand the reason why they didn't shoot that police officer. Because when I read that account, remember, this is in my township. And I knew her. I went to school with her. When I read that account, I almost had to cry. Because all these officers got their guns out. And you see, I understand because I grew up in this area. So all these other townships, they don't want to deal with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna have to answer to their commanding officers. Why didn't you stop him? Or what could you have done? And they're like, well, it's not too much we could have done because it wasn't our township. We were just out there trying our best to keep everything peaceful. But it was nothing we really could have done. But his own men were not going to shoot him. They were like, Sarge, you trained us. They were like, Sarge, you trained us. Like they were trying to talk him down. And he was just crazy. You can see it on YouTube. He was just out there. And he kept putting a gun to his head. And then he just said, because he definitely wanted her dead. That was the main thing. He wanted her dead. And he did not want to spend the rest of his life in jail. He knew his career was over with. He did not want to spend the rest of his life in jail if he knew she was alive. So in his mind, she had to go. And he thought he was going to shoot her and they were going to shoot him. So that's what he did. So it was just sad because you knew that they respected him. So you knew he wasn't he definitely had the respect of his men that were like subordinates to him. And they were just trying to talk him down. It was really emotional because I knew her and I knew what was about to happen. And then, you could see them really trying to talk to him like, don't do it. So that's why I said none of this stuff is bubblegum astrology. This is real life, real feelings. And I just told you all the supernaturals involved, especially when you're dealing with the 8th house and the 12th house. It's a lot going on. And if you're not going to be that stronghold that he needs, then it's going to be hell to pay one way or another. It's going to be a lot of, there'll be some good times, but it's going to be a lot of wasted time. And it's going to be a lot of hell to pay. Because even his cross, that vertex, you keep seeing that number 27, and also that 2 and 7 is 9, so that's going to be like the Virgo energy and stuff like that. That's the vertex. That's fate or destiny. But he really needs a Cancer. He needs a woman that understands that family, and she's got to be she's really got to be that mother. She's got to be that backbone mother. She's got to be strong like the father. that woman's gonna have to be a lot, because he's carrying a lot of internal stuff, which is why he's so external, helping everybody, because that's what people do. They don't want to deal with their own shit, so they go out and try to help other people, because to deal with their own is too painful. Also, he may have had an inheritance, because in the 8th house, you deal with inheritance. He has Cancer in the 8th house, which means it might have been an inheritance. And you see Jupiter in his 4th house, which is family. Well, really, that's the 5th house, is it? No, it is the 4th house, family. And 13 degrees takes you right back to the 8th house, because 13 degrees is the death card. Scorpio. Scorpio rules the 8th house, which is ruled by Pluto. And then Scorpio, yeah. So he may have gotten an inheritance, or will get an inheritance. All right. Both of these Virgos, you see 20 degrees. Again, that's still Pluto energy, Scorpio energy. All right, so yeah, that's what we're doing. That 8th house, the 12th house with Scorpio, which is really the 8th house. So this is a lot of subconscious stuff. And all this also deals with a lot of past lives and stuff like that too. Now, this is trusted psychic mediums. They said the 12th house in Scorpio, but that's incorrect. It should say Scorpio in the 12th house. So they say you have a huge dark side. Now, again, I'm at trustedpsychicmediums.com. You have a huge dark side which you try desperately to hide from public view. You've taken on very strong views of right and wrong, and you are infuriated when your own subconscious mind refuses to cooperate with them. But now we saw a lot of Mars, we saw a lot of Aries. See, that's fury, infuriated, anger. And again, they're saying that he's going to see the world a certain way, and when somebody opposes that, it could cause him to be infuriated. And that's what I'm trying to tell you about the 7th house. 7th house is a man that's going, and the reason why he's going to lock it down, see, that's what happened with John Cena. See, John Cena had been hurt so many times that when he met that female, I believe it's Nikki Bella, if I'm not mistaken, and he had himself a good Mexican woman, because Mexican women, they are family minded, and that was so important to Nikki to be the wife and to have children, and everything she wanted, John didn't want. Nikki Bella. Now, so John controlled everything, and everybody knows. They even put that in a WWE shoot between Miz and John Cena, and Miz was saying, John Cena, you make Nikki sign contracts, which he did. You give her all these rules, and she's willing to do it because she wants to be married, and she wants to be married to John. And John is getting all the benefits of this unbelievably beautiful Mexican woman. He's getting all the benefits. And then she's also, as far as, I'll be totally no disrespect to nobody, but When the Bellas left WWE, they were gone for a while. But by that time, the Diva division at that time was boring. And then the Bella Twins came back. That's what made me start watching the Diva matches. Because them girls did not play, especially Nikki. Nikki was the ultimate. So in that sense, he's got one of the best superstars. Because she really made that brand important. And then people can get mad all they want. Everybody's got an opinion. But I sat there and watched that stuff. That was just boring. Until they came back. Because they were old school. I don't know if they were in the Attitude Era, but they were around not too far from the Attitude Era, and that was hard hitting and real. You didn't play when you got up in that ring. You knew you had to perform, and Nikki Bella's the best at that. That's why if you notice, Nikki Bella tried to take on Ronda Rousey, and she's like she's real hardcore. And John Cena's known for being real hardcore, believe it or not. So John tried to control everything, and Nikki was willing to agree with everything because she felt like, I got to do this to get married. But John felt like the moment we get married, she's going to change, and she probably would have. So John really did not want to get married. So Nikki's trying to be all happy and celebrate they're about to be married, and maybe they'll finally get on and have children, all the stuff that John didn't want. But she could see in John's whole expression, he didn't want it. And that's when she finally woke up out of her self-imposed reality. She finally said, wow, this should be the most happiest moment of my life, and it's not. It's the worst. Wow, we both should be so happy we're getting married, and he doesn't want it. She finally dealt with reality. And then that's when she started to say, I don't need this, I don't need him. And she began to back up. And then that's when he knew he fucked up. But that's why I tell you women, don't do that. You should speak up. See, y'all argue about silly shit. Y'all argue about shoes or some stupid stuff. But stuff that really matters, y'all don't argue about. I got mothers, I got sisters. I sit here and watch this shit all the time. Because had Nikki spoke up earlier, and I'm not blaming her. Don't think I'm blaming her. I hate what John did. With John, he's like no respect. Because it's men like him that I can't get a good relationship. Because of jerks like him. So don't think in any way, shape, or form I'm taking up for John Cena. But Nikki should have never played that. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, I'll do it. Yes, sir. Okay, anything. Because that's why he was able to exploit her the way he did. From day one. You got to understand, the moment she stood up for herself, he started to chase to get her back. But if she had been that same woman in the beginning, she would have got her. She would have got what she wanted. Nobody respects a yes man. That's why I'm trying to tell you. If you knew how many employers I've worked for that can't even respect me, because I would never let them cross that line between when it's business and when it's personal. And the moment they cross that line, I put them back in their place and still had a job. Never to be disrespected. And had she did that, she would have had what she wanted with John. So that's why, even though it was his fault for the way he did it, it was her fault because you should have never agreed to that stuff. I'm not signing no freaking contract. I already got a contract with the WWE. I got to sign a contract with the man I'm supposed to be marrying? How stupid is that? Where's the respect at? Where's the trust and respect? I'm not a child. I'm a grown woman. She should have smacked the shit out of him. She should have hit him with a steel chair. It's the WWE, y'all. So again, this is trustedpsychicmediums.com. You have a huge dark side. You strongly denounce any idea that opposes your rational thinking. You're secretly fascinated by the depths of darkness in the universe. So this person will have to develop balance. And they keep saying that word balance. Alright, here goes more information from astrology.blogspot.com. Just give me a moment because one of them things. See, I'm not mad at John Cena for being afraid of being hurt or taken advantage of again, but that's just not the way to do it. That's why I said, believe me, I soul searched. I went deep with all of that, and then that's why I realized when I saw it the way I saw it, I already knew. You know, I'm not here to waste my whole time communicating on something that may or may not work itself out. I'm not here for that. I didn't come here for that. Whatever you see me doing, I'm in my purpose, and that's more important to me than just about anything because it's how I connect with the source. And you got to have a lot of time for a whole lot of communication, a lot of good times, bad times, ups and downs, and all kind of stuff. But you got to act like me. I'm gonna say, what's the final? I guess that's my ascendant is Gemini. What's the final outcome? And if the final outcome is we still gonna be separated, then why the fuck am I wasting my time in the first place? But everybody's not like that. That's what I'm saying. I think relationships are great, but you just got to find a person you can be in a great relationship with. But you can only do that through being honest with each other and real communication. Otherwise, like I said, everything is bubblegum. Bubblegum astrology, bubblegum relationship. So this person with Scorpio in the 12th house will be highly perceptive, extremely intuitive. They said this person will almost have what we would call X-ray vision. And Scorpio is like they're very psychic and you can't lie to a Scorpio. You'd be wasting your time. You can feel. Remember, the 12th house is also the infat, and this person can feel other people's energies. You feel vibration and energy and need to be careful with whom you associate. And that's my point. When you're associating with criminals and all kind of stuff all day long, all that, that's the energy you're bringing in. That's why that person needs it every day to detox, get those spirits and that energy off of them. You are very observative and sensitive. So you know whether you could trust a person or not because you can sense their energy. The 12th house is all about the unconscious mind. It's about things that are hidden. It's also about secret enemies. It's also about past lives. It's also about karma and endings and reckoning. So all our hidden fears and anxieties are also in the 12th house. So with Scorpio in the 12th house, your powerful sensors can be your worst enemy because they can lead you to paranoia. However, these extrasensory abilities are gifts, and the truth is, Scorpios would rather see the ugly than turn a blind eye. So that's what I tried to tell you. In the seventh house, the best thing you can do is be honest, but he'll respect you for being honest. Again, if Nikki Bella had been honest, John would have bowed the fuck down because he knew he had a good thing. But he just played her out because he had her going, yes, 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 whatever you want, John, I'll do whatever it takes to be married to you and fulfill my dream of being married and having children and all that. Even though he kept telling her, I don't want that. And the reason why he didn't want it because he'd already got hurt before by somebody else. But she should have told him, well, John, that's what I want. And I really want it with you, John. But if you don't want it, I got things to do. John would have got his shit together. And they would probably still be together now. Probably with a family. But she chose to tap out. And that's where, as much as she's mad at him, she should be mad at herself as well. Because it takes two. You shouldn't have tapped out. You should have told him exactly what you wanted and what you needed from him. And if he can't give it to you, well then, John, I love you, but I got things I want in life. I'm not going to be sitting around in a dead area. And that's how I relate to everybody. Whether it's a female in my life, whether it's a boss, I'm up front and it's just the way it is. The world's not going to end just because one door closes. One door closes, another one opens. But you got to believe in yourself and you got to have self-confidence. So Scorpios would rather see the ugly if the truth is ugly than to deal with anything else. So that's what he's trying to find out. So don't say yeah if you don't really mean it. So she says Saturn is a lot like Scorpio because they're going to force you to see the truth. Scorpio is the most powerfulest zodiac sign there is in the 12. It's also a powerful healer as well. And it's the most psychic as well. And remember, Scorpio is the phoenix. A lot of people don't know that. In the 8th house, anywhere where Scorpio is, it's all about death and resurrection. But most of the stuff going on in your 12th house is going on in the subconscious mind. So on his chart, wherever you see Neptune and Pisces, that's where all this stuff is going on. So he has to be very careful about fear and doubt and all that other stuff we were talking about. This is a very powerful person, but most of the power is internally. And he'll see it in dreams especially. But now, if he knew how to do it, he could actually psychologically protect himself from energies. There's people that know how to do that. They're not like the Scorpio in the 12th house could definitely do it if they know how to do it. See, what will benefit him is if he learned how to utilize his psychic abilities. Like he needs a well-trained person in this type of stuff that could show him. He's got to watch whatever he's thinking and feeling, because it's going to manifest with Scorpio in the 12th house. And they keep telling him he has to overcome his fears and his doubts. So they say he's got to be careful what he thinks, because what he thinks will come into reality, manifestation, and karmically speaking, he's going to be held accountable for it. And they said what he puts out will come back upon him. So it's important for him to stay positive and optimistic. And he can't be around the wrong people, because that energy is going to be on him, just like I said. And then they're talking about healing, because Scorpio is the most powerfulest sign there is, and really good with healing for himself and other people. And he may experience supernatural stuff through his dreams that manifest in the real world. They say this person is very magnetic and exudes a strong sexual aura. But anyway, even just being a Taurus, that could be true. But this is really is certainly for him. And he's going to come off as a bad boy. Like, let's just say he's wearing a suit every day and he's confident. But a lot of women are turned on by that. So to some women, that's just like a bad boy, because it's the confidence and the way he looks. Because remember, anything with Scorpio, especially 8th house, even 12th house, is like a person's kind of considered a bad boy. So they're saying just because of who he is, other people may be jealous of him or insecure of him. And he's very psychic. He has dreams, premonitions, and even prophecy. So that's his spiritual side. Whether he has a spiritual job, whether he's a shaman, whether he's a priest, whatever he is, he's still got this spiritual gift. He has the ability to face his fears and his dreams, heal old wounds, pay karmic debts. He could change the outcomes of life situations. And when you got Scorpio in the 12th house, you could change the outcome of life situations. So his dreams will be pretty much intense, mystical, even magical, and they will be powerful. And they keep saying he has to learn to overcome his fears and his doubts. He's got to face each and every one of them. He's got to learn how to use positive thinking and manifestation. And they say his belief system is important, but that's again why you have Sagittarius right there. Scorpio in the 12th house, a lot of emotional, spiritual sensitivity. But in the 12th house, you got to be careful, because people in the 12th house serve other people so much that they martyr themselves. So I always say in the 12th house, the best way you could help a person is to teach them to help themselves. But he may also become a victim, like I said, because he's going to be sexually attractive. And in this day and age, that could be male or female. So people may try to use him for that reason, or financial reasons, material reasons. So he has to be careful. Remember, this is the house of open enemies, of manipulation. And that's why I said If he meets a female that says yes, 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 but she doesn't really mean it, that is kind of like an open enemy because of his natal chart. So, like I said, as long as people know he likes to say yes, they're going to keep using him. So, like, if they have his home phone number, they would be calling him, always trying to get him to do stuff that they're too lazy to do himself. See, the 12th house is not about burning yourself out. It's just about helping other people. But the best help you can give other people is teach them to help themselves. And they say this per type of person, people will permanently borrow stuff and never give it back. And say they'll do it regularly. So they said these type of people are trying to compromise his power. But I told you, they're called energy vampires. See, that's why I said everybody wants to talk about love story out here. They don't want to talk about the real stuff. And they say other people can sense that he has a mystery aura, so they're really trying to come around and figure out what it is. So they say with Scorpio in the 12th house, because this is really your 8th house and 12th house together, it's going to be a double dose of karma. So when you have Scorpio in the 12th house, it indicates that in the past life there was a great abuse or misuse of truth, metaphysics. And if Neptune is afflicted in the chart with Scorpio on the crust of that 12th house, it implies the black magicians of the past. So your Neptune is definitely afflicted because it's retrograde, and that's why I saved it for last. And let me see. Let me look at it again. I was really referring to your 12th house. Your Pluto's a retrograde, but your Neptune is still retrograde, but it's only in the first house. But if it's afflicted, they said if it's afflicted, let me read it again. In the chart with Scorpio in the crust of the 12th house, it implies black magicians of the past. So that's his karma for being a black magician of the past. A person involved with witchcraft, involvement in false gods and false religions, especially the Babylonian period of time. Now, what I want to try to tell y'all, and ironically, he is from that he's from that area. This is why I don't rush. Because you, why don't you rush? Why are you saying all that? Oh, I don't care about none of that. Oh, I just want to go out. I just want somebody to hold my hand. I just want somebody to take me out. I just want to have sex. They don't care about none of that shit until the supernatural get on your ass. and then you, oh, help me. Somebody help me. I just got it. Not today, but I got an email from somebody. And this person been listening to me for years. And they're going to send me some email. Oh, I got this stuff going on and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at that fool like, look, I done warned you. I've been warning you about that type of stuff for over 3 years. So why wait till it happens to act like it's a major emergency? You should have been unprepared for that. So that's why I said this is not bubblegum astrology. This is why I do what I do at a great loss to myself. So anything he was connected to in those time periods are still with him now. And you have to be careful. But the only way you could do it, see, that's why you need to be strong. Because when you're strong, you could help people. Main thing, if you're a female trying to talk, try to always stress, no matter how you do it, face to face, email, however you do it. But you trying to stress to this person that I'm part of you. I want to be with you. I'm trying to work this out with you. I care about you. Therefore, the initial response is going to be to reject you and push you away and put you back in your place. But the more he realizes that this person is really not trying to go nowhere, the more he's more apt to talk with you. So Scorpio in the 12th house is the gateway to great spirituality. This is the greatest spiritual development. So Scorpio in the 12th house can achieve cosmic consciousness, atonement, at-one-ment, the final fulfillment of self as being part of the macrocosmic or cosmic pattern. So it's karma here in the 12th house, karma, the sign of Scorpio. Pluto also represents personal individual karma. So it's highly karmic. That's one thing they're letting you know. It's highly karmic. So again, when you team up with a karmic person like that, whatever karmic they're dealing with, it's going to affect you one way or another. All right. Let's just do Uranus retrograde. Now remember, the reason why his Libra is in the 11th house. The 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, also ruled by planet Uranus. But it's all about the people, the community, friends, association, groups, affiliations. It's all about the community. Because he's always going to be serving in the community. So, of course, that's going to affect his relationship. Also, it's the law. So if he has any connections to the law, of course, that's where the law is. It's out in the streets. It's out in the community. It's out with the people. All right, let's do Uranus retrograde first. Uranus retrograde is all about expecting the unexpected, surprises coming out of nowhere. Uranus and Aquarius are both considered the oddballs of the zodiac system. It can amaze you and amuse you, but it can also bring chaos out of nowhere. But it could be within yourself or externally in the world. Uranus retrograde could be a person who's normally quiet. All of a sudden, they become very not only loud but wild. Or it could be a person that's normally loud and wild. They all of a sudden become quiet and inhibited. That's a Uranus retrograde. Remember, Uranus and Aquarius also deal with technology. So even like surveillance in the community and all that kind of stuff. So this person is going to be extreme. And see, once again, that's not a good trait to have around people. See, there is no hot or cold. They're extreme. I mean, there is no middle ground. That's what I meant to say. There is no black or white. They're extreme. And you can't be that way around people. Like I said, so this person has no middle ground. They see life as black and white. So now you got to go back to what I said about the seventh house. So you have to be strong. Like if you're not strong, you can do whatever you want. But if you're not strong, he needs like a strong woman. He needs a woman that from day one going to like tell him. Because I believe he'll adjust. Like I really believe he'll adjust. But if you're weak, you're just gonna like I said, it's gonna be more John Cena, Nikki Bella. Because he's gonna tell you how it's gonna be, and you're gonna just sit there and think by going yes, 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 yes. It's not never gonna work out. That's why, like I said, I'm way more experienced with this shit. I've been on this planet a long time. I'm way more. I'd rather have a female tell me from day one, I ain't doing that, because now I know what I'm dealing with. That's why me and my twin never got along, because I could tell she tried all that smiley shit. I did not believe her from day one. From the moment I seen it, I was like, man, this is some. And she was fake. My twin was real. Not only was she fake, but she was evil. But the bottom line is, I was like, I'm not having that. Show me who you really are. Otherwise, it ain't no sense in even talking. Because I don't have no more to give. I done gave, no more to give. Show me something to believe. If you can't show me one thing to believe, you ain't about shit anyway. And I was right. Where's she at now? So it takes a lot of pain to get you to the point where you need to be. But you have to be at the point where if this is really going to be about some BS, I don't have time for it. Because I could be doing something. Time is money. Time is everything. And I don't have a second to waste on no BS. But that's because I've been here a long time. So this Uranus retrograde, he's not going to be, he's not about, he sees things a certain way. So if you're not strong enough to help him realize things, like I said, the difference between a man and a woman and all that stuff I said in this video, if you're not strong enough to show that person that, then you're not going to be happy. And you better hope it doesn't become an abusive situation. Well, let's go back to the officer that kills his wife. Now, at the end of the day, no matter what the situation was, even if I'm not saying that she was, because she probably wasn't, he probably was crazy, and he probably had all these extreme things that nobody could follow. He could have married a robot, and he would have had to shoot the robot, because nobody's going to follow that crazy ass belief system that's going on inside of his crazy ass head. Like if you're a real man, when you meet a female, then the main thing you have to realize is she's not you. She's not a man. She's a woman. So it's gonna be totally different, and that's the way God designed it, whether you like it or not. She's totally different from you, so you can't go we, because she may not agree, agree, and you're gonna feel like, damn, everything I try to do, she fucks up. But if you think about it, she's not supposed to be you, so it's kind of normal. It's frustrating, but it's kind of normal because she's supposed to see it a different way than you do. And you say, but you're not listening, because even when I agree with her, she changes it again. And I'm like, I know. You think I don't know? I know what you're talking about. But again, if you can't deal with that, then you gotta either get some help or whatever, because you're gonna end up frustrating yourself or frustrating the relationship. And if it's abusive, somebody's gonna get abused. So Uranus retrograde is a person who is going to see things black or white. And again, remember, this is the person that sits there and thinks everything out, and then he doesn't know why everybody doesn't agree with it. But that's a person that's like in it, and they could be right. Like I said, one of the best movies ever was I believe it's called Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now with good old Marlon Brando. Now, when I saw that movie, because back then they made a couple of movies that were kind of hard to watch. Deer Hunter, Apocalypse One. I think Deer Hunter was a little bit easier to watch, I think. But Apocalypse One, you really had to sit there. Like, you really had to, and I am an intellect, but you really had to be an intellect to really understand that movie. So, and I believe the assassin that the military sent to kill Marlon Brando's character was Charlie Sheen, if I'm not mistaken. And the movie starts off with this guy in his room practicing the martial arts by himself. And it had weird photography and weird scenes. But I watched it. You know, I'm watching this movie. And basically, a man had been in the military that had went AWOL. And the military felt like he should be put to death because of who he was. Not just because of what he knew. I need y'all to understand why they had him killed. It's a whole lot of people walking around with military secrets. Ain't nobody put no bullet in their head. It was because of what he was. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, again, listen, because this is this type of person, according to his natal chart. This is why Tupac was so different. And they say Tupac stayed in the studio. Because a lot of people say, we know Tupac's alive because he's always writing new music. But people that know him say, no, he really did stay in the studio. All he did was write. You're dealing with a different type of person as Mercury and Gemini. It's like robotic. I know a lot of shit I do is robotic, but that's because my ascendant is Gemini. And I forget what my Mercury is on my chart. So they didn't kill him because of what he knew. They killed him because of who he was, how he carried himself. So they hired Charlie Sheen. Now what happened was, just like I told y'all, you can go to church all day long and everybody in there will raise their hand and oh, the Lord. Because when you raise your hand, that's you don't realize that's like a court. You're taking an oath before God. Unless you're just praising God. But they, oh yeah, you put your hand up. I want to testify. No, you don't. Because if you're not going to do that, you're going to be held accountable for that. You're talking to God. That's the biggest judge. So you raise your hand, oh, the Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Amen. Let the Lord have his way. Yeah, they all do that. Everybody's down with the Lord until we go amen and the church service is over and then people get up and start doing what the fuck they want to. So if you watch the movie Apocalypse Now, Marlon Brando's character could apply all the military rules and everything. He could apply it. Not only write it and agree to it, he could apply it. And that scared the fuck out of the military. That scared the fuck out of them. That's why they had him killed. Now, probably nobody just heard what I just said. A lot of y'all think this is entertainment or something. But that's why they had him killed. Not because he knew, because there's a whole lot of people walking around that got military secrets. Ain't nobody killing them. Ain't no hit been put out on them. But that character that Marlon Brando played, they knew they was dealing with something different. Because they couldn't believe here was a guy that would read all this stuff and actually try to apply it. Try to add application to it. And they saw him as being extremely dangerous. Now, was he dangerous? I don't know, because he was on an island by himself. He had people like islanders worshiping him like he was something, but he wasn't with no terrorist organization or nothing. He wasn't anti-American. He just left because he felt like it was bullshit, like any real dude does. He just left. He's like, this is some bullshit. Why are we sitting here saying all this stuff and we're not going to do it? So he wanted out, so he left. But they knew. So they said, he's got to die. Because we can't take a risk of him ever putting that stuff in the application because they knew he could do it. So that's like you go to school and you're told over and over again, study hard, obey the rules, and you do it, and now somebody wants to put a bullet in your head because of it. Well, welcome to planet Earth. And again, you may not be hearing what I'm trying to tell you, but this is why these men do what they do. Because they see the same thing. And for some reason, they blame the wife for it. Because I think they're saying, you should have been the one person that should have been there. You should have been the one person that understood what I was going through. You should have been the one support system for me. But you weren't. So now, Charlie Sheen his character finds Marlon Brando's character. It's a, thing in the jungle and all this stuff. And first off, as soon as he got there, they had him arrested. So he couldn't have killed nobody. They could have killed him. But Marlon Brando, his character, realized the military is going to keep on coming until they kill me. So he actually let his men let Charlie Sheen's character go. And he just actually stood there and let the assassin, I think he chopped his head off if I'm not. Because I only watched that movie like once or twice. And I was real young when I saw that movie. It was a weird ass movie, but I watched it, but I knew it had a reason. Like, it was one of those movies I knew I had to watch. Even though I really was like, man, this is some weird ass shit. Because that's the planet you're on. You're on a planet that talks a good game, but very few are going to apply it. But every now and then you meet a guy like, who I believe this man is like that. Or you meet somebody who really would. Even Tupac was very unique. But they become a danger. Because everybody wants to know, why can't you just do what we do? We just go, yes sir, yeah, but then we do what we want to. But you actually trying to apply this shit. Are you crazy? We got to kill you. Because now you're making us look bad. And that's what Joseph was in the Bible. His own brothers tried to kill him for the same reason. So this guy is going to be frustrated because he knows what he's reading. He knows what his mind is telling him. But now he's got to play all this, and he doesn't want to do it. Especially with a Uranus retrograde. So in the 11th house, he's going to have trouble with people too. And right away somebody might say, oh, well, I know this guy. Everybody loves him. You don't know what you're talking about. A lot of that stuff is on one level. And again, you're not with somebody 24 hours a day. We already proved that he has an external lovable side. But that doesn't mean everywhere. And again, not saying who's good or bad. What we're saying is the pros and cons of the situation. But either way, extremities. And plus, he's going to be very legalistic. Because that's where Libra is. So he's going to be very legalistic. And we already found out in his 7th house, he's going to be somewhat legalistic. Because he's going to feel like this is the way it's supposed to be done. I don't know why they're not doing it. Because I remember one job I had. Now, technically speaking, everybody was supposed to come in the door and use a badge. But it's early in the morning. You know how it is. It's early in the morning. You're tired. You don't feel like looking for the freaking badge. You might not even have it on you. You just don't care. So if somebody's already got that door open, you're going through it. Everybody knows. I know we don't just do this stuff out in Jersey. Just about now, a few of you little nerds, will probably sit there and wait. But most people are going through that door regardless. They could care less. But it'd be that one guy, and he's usually got on a thick pair of glasses or some junk. Hey! You didn't use your badge! Use your badge! Yeah! Like, oh, shut up. Tattletale, you fucking rat. Sorry, that's New Jersey coming out. Now, I'm still reading some of this. So, he's going to be extreme. Like, it's got to be yes or no, hot or cold, but it can't be a compromise or middle ground. But again, a woman may be able to help him, but it may not. It just depends on how intense he is on believing that stuff. So now they go back to his previous life. They said he was a rebel or revolutionary. Now we also have him saying in one of his previous lives using black magic and stuff like that. So he was always fighting the establishment or looking for battles that challenge fairness. Now, like I said, I'm just telling you what's on the chart. So I believe what's on the chart. Because she might say, well, I know him. He doesn't have no problems with his authority. Nobody, all his authority respect him and stuff like that. But it's still on his chart. So it may be some things you're not aware of, some things you don't know, or it might be something that comes up later on, but it's still on his chart. Like I said, sometimes the heart takes over and people don't listen. But hopefully, what I do, though, I may still keep them alive. Because, like, once the guy smacks them or something, and maybe they'll hear my voice saying, I told you. And then maybe they'll do something. Because I don't want to see somebody shot in the head. But nobody's answering my question yet. How can these men that have been trained how to use weapons, that these are trained officials, not no just a common thug that picked up a gun. These are trained officials. They've been trained in challenging situations, life-threatening situations. These men are trained on probably breathing techniques and how to maintain disposition no matter what. They've been trained. And they've had guns pulled out on them. Some of these guys have had guns pulled out on them, but somehow they still win. Like the person pulled the gun out on them. Somehow they are able to still subdue this person and get the gun away. And they pull the gun back out. Then they have a gun on the person. They don't go, well, since you pulled your gun out on me, I'm going to blow your brains out. They still bring this person in for the most part. People driving all crazy, hitting police vehicles and all that. And they stop them and, or just arrest them. They don't say, okay, you were driving all crazy. You damaged the police car, so we're going to blow your brains out. So then why kill your wife? Because you're not, after that, you're going to jail. They might put you on death row depending. There's nothing good coming from killing her. So why would you do that? That'd be the least person I'd kill. Because ain't nothing good coming from it. But yet they do it. So that's why this shit is serious. If it wasn't serious, I wouldn't be out here. If the statistics was low on that, I wouldn't sit out all this time. Because there's a lot of my time that I could be doing something else. But the statistics is high, but nobody wants to look at it. Because most people go, I just want to be in love, or I just want to marry a man with money or something. I just want to make sure I have some type of stability in my life. And they don't want to look at the statistics or the facts. So they might have been a rebel or a revolutionary in the past life. They were always fighting the establishment. But they're really hard about fairness. But again, what do they tell you? Life's not fair. Like when your child goes, oh, that's not fair. And then the parent goes, well, who told you life's fair? Nobody said life is fair. But this person's really deep. Because remember, you see Tupac when he was 17 years old talking about feeding the homeless and all that stuff. And then when he became older, became a man, and he's a worldwide, one of the biggest rappers of all time, he's still talking about feeding the homeless and talking about all the corruption in America and all the racism and everything. So that's these type of people. So they say because this person is so extreme, they may go through life destroying things. So this person's got to learn compromise. And whether she likes it or not, the woman in his life is supposed to help him do that. And sometimes you have to be tough. And when I say tough, it doesn't mean arguing and all that. Just tough. Loving, but tough at the same time. Because everybody has got to understand, I want to be with you, but this has got to be work for both of us. And if somebody doesn't understand that, they're really not ready for a relationship anyway. So I think if women were just as interested in what I'm saying, communicating with the man, as they are with the clothes and the eyelash and all the stuff they do. Because and stuff like that, they're flawless. They'll match it all up. It's all perfect. The angles are perfect. But they need their same artistic, creative expression and communication. Because listen, you can do it if you wanted to a job, though. If the man said to me, we've now 15 people applied for this position, we've narrowed it down to 3 or 4. We would like you to tell us why you think we should hire you. I bet your ass be creative then. I bet you, especially if it's a good ass job with good ass money and everything, I bet your ass be creative then. I bet your communications, then you be creative then. Same way you be connecting your colors and all that stuff you women do. Some of y'all be having 3 and 4 different colors on the fingernails and all that. I bet that creativity come out then. But then in a relationship, it just don't come out. It's like a tap out. And that's cool when you ain't messing with somebody that has a gun. Or that's cool when you ain't messing with somebody that's abusive. But in a case like this, and going by statistics, you have to really be careful because it's your life on the line. So this person will have to learn compromise, and they don't have to go looking for a just war and everything. Because this type of person with a Uranus retrograde. But this is in the 11th house, but you know people drive you crazy anyway. And plus we already were talking about energy because he's an infant. So their energy, like I started off this video with that. Now you see that I was right. And 24 is always the return. Now what does it mean, return? Well, now we done learned he's got some past life stuff going on. So it might have something to do with that. And even your true north node is 24, which again is the return. Pluto retrograde means something is going to be taken. Like very impactful. Both of these are very impactful. Both Pluto retrograde is like boom, something just got taken. Uranus retrograde is like boom, something just came out of nowhere. And that's only in 11th house with people. Then you got the law there because Libra. It's going to affect your relationship because that's relationship. It even deals with cemeteries, believe it or not. The 7th house ruled by Libra deals with cemeteries or death. So Pluto retrograde is always something but more or less coming out of nowhere, but taking something valuable. But it's taking it away from you so you can learn how to move on and get past your codependencies. And if anybody is listening to this particular reading, that is the point. That most relationships, people are too busy with their own vanity to be worrying about somebody else's dark houses and problems and stuff like that. And that's why this stuff fails. It goes into immorality or, stuff like that. Or even abuse. Because if a female, she's still trying to express her identity. She still wants to be sexy. She still wants people looking at her and stuff like that. That's a female. That comes with whatever you call it. That comes with the whatever being a female. But if you know how much time, and I don't even understand how it's done, but how much time is done. You fix your hair, put eyelashes, match everything up, and flawless and all that. And even shopping all the time. I just don't understand it. Me personally, just being honest. And but that takes a lot of time. And a lot of times you don't want to hear somebody else's weaknesses, or you don't give a freak about their 8th house or their 12th house or whatever went down with their parents or past life. You want right now to make you feel good. I want right now. I want to touch. I want to hold hands. I want to feel right now. I want to go out right now. I want to be treated a certain way right now. You don't have time to be a psychologist and all that. And that's why a lot of this fails. But almost everybody has it. It has something to deal with. And then our world is slanted because there's too much requirement on one side, but it's two people. It needs to be balanced. And if you really think about it, when this first started, the two scales came out. Libra, Jophiel, and then Raguel, Divine Order. It's all about balance. See, it's supposed to be 50-50, which it never is. It never is. And that's the reality of it. And then, like I said, when a man goes that crazy that he hurts his own wife, it's because he felt trapped. Not saying he was right for doing it, but he just felt trapped. Even like John Cena was just hurt. So he thought, I'm never going to get hurt again, so I'm going to control everything. But he messed everything up. By being that way, he messed everything up. So when two people can be balanced and come to some type of mutual understanding, mutual communication, and the fact is, do you really want it to work? And like I said, it's the same thing as church. Yes, I really want it to work. Yes. until it's time for application, and then you're gonna see the real shit. Look, I ain't got no time for this. I'm trying to put my eyelash on. I'm getting ready to go out. I'm going to see my sisters today. I'm going out tonight with my sisters and my cousins. I ain't got no time for this. Oh, he's a big ass baby. There you go again with that 12th house shit or that 8th house shit. I don't feel like dealing with that right now. I'm trying to get out of here. He's stressing me out. All right. See, I like the classroom setting. I really do. In the classroom setting, you hear everything. You can hear the teacher tapping on the computer. You can hear the chair or whatever. All right, now I'm trying to find Vesta conjunct Pluto. They said John Lennon had Vesta conjunct Juno and Pluto. And you know he was obsessed with Yoko, but a lot of people say Yoko was his handler. And a lot of other stuff about Yoko too. That even if I said it, you probably wouldn't believe it. Yeah, Vesta is all about cause. And there's John and Yoko talking about hair piece, bed piece. Now, why do you think they're both? It looks like they're both either in the bed or close to the bed because they spent a lot of time in the bed, which is kind of Hinduish. But you know, John, it really. That's why this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. When they killed him, they see John was a problem because back then all the secret stuff that we know about now. Once you took that oath, you wasn't supposed to tell, and he started telling the people. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of y'all think Yoko was helping. She wasn't. She was more or less helping the powers that be because her job was to keep him sedated and on that bed. And then he finally got up. I think it was 1979. John Lennon finally got up, and the John we knew, crazy ass Kanye West type of John Lennon. For those of you to know your history, he was back. And the moment he came back, he was dead because they didn't want him. Nixon hated John Lennon. They tried to deport that guy back to England. Like all the stuff y'all see nowadays that y'all think is that shit was going on a long time ago. And but the moment he decided he wasn't going to stay drugged up, but that shows how powerful his will was. And you got to understand, as great as Paul McCartney is, he needed John. John was like his battery. John was like his energy. And I think he'd admit it. He might not want to, but like I'm a musician, or I used to be. You could tell. And so John, they tried to keep John drugged up, but he still came off that bed in 1979, and he made that one song, and everybody knew John was back, and that's when them secret people said he got to be taken out. And believe me, Mark Chapman was sent, and I know a lot about Mark Chapman that y'all don't know. Like Mark Chapman has a compound, and on that compound they train people like how to kill and shit. Stuff you could look up if you were interested. And I really fought Yoko for that, but I think Yoko even helped. I think Yoko had John in the right place at the right time to get shot. I really believe that, because she was his handler, and that's why he was obsessed with her. Because if you understand, it was the love he had for Yoko was crazy. It was like a program, like hypnotized love, and they did that to keep him quiet. And that's why when you saw Kanye West making music with Paul McCartney, there was a reason for that. It wasn't just what y'all thought. It wasn't just a collaboration. It was a message. As soon as I saw it, I knew what it was. And if you notice, a lot of Kanye's music he's made has been influenced by John Lennon type people. All right. So Vesta has involvement with religion or spirituality. These type of people will take a stance on religion and spirituality. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. In his 11th house, he probably will become that way. He's going to become more spiritual. No matter what his job is, he's still going to become more that way. And now they even say right here, they say John's ideas for religion were influenced by Yoko. But what did John tell you? One world religion and stuff like that, because she was down with the system. That was not his love, that was his handler. And if you just watch, he was more or less hypnotized or something because he was obsessed with Yoko. And her job was to keep him drugged up on that bed because they feared his ass because they knew how he influenced people. And you gotta understand, back then the paranoid was much higher than it is now. But they like I just told you all about Apocalypse. Why they killed that guy? Same type of shit. If they even thought you were going to be a problem, they just kill you in the beginning. And John Lennon was fine as long as he was on that bed with Yoko. The moment John got back up and started making music, they said, hell no. Next thing you know, Yoko Ono had him stationed outside, and then Mark Chapman came up and blew his head off. And that's what I believe to be true. But anyway, so Pluto conjunct Juno, they gave you that. I was hoping to find more, but I don't think they're going to. And wherever you have Vesta in your chart, that's where a person will burn out. Because you can tell he's really going to care about the people. All right. So something will get taken explosively. And they say Vesta conjunct Pluto is more spiritual. Because Vesta is spiritual. But you got to remember, Pluto can be sexual too. And this is relationship. So yeah, he may have like a spiritual type of sexual type relationship with somebody. And it does have Leo energy. And if you look at hers, you see her, Pluto retrograde in Libra, and you see the vertex as well. So these two definitely can have a soulmate connection through Cancer, Scorpio, Pluto, Libra, especially. But it's still soulmate. Now in a strong Leo, the only way it would be strong Leo if it was fifth house, where he's got Aries there. And your first house is ruled by Aries, so it's both Taurus, and both of y'all. Well, yours, yeah. So you got your sun is 23 degrees. That could be 5, and then it's 50. which is 5. 5-0 is 5. So that kind of energy as well. Cause like I admit, I don't know everything, but this Lion King, that was powerfully Leo. On these two charts, it's in numerology. But the Leo that was contacting you was powerful, like by itself. It wasn't no numerology. It wasn't add this number to get that number and all. No, it was Leo. This was a powerful Leo energy that made itself known, being connected to you. I do believe you and this gentleman could have like a soulmate situation, but everything I warned you about, it is what it is. But let me tell you who he would. I'm gonna tell you who he would end up with and who you would end up with for a twin flame. So let's start with his chart to the left. Go to the first house. True North Node could be Sagittarius or a ninth house type of deal. Juno definitely is a Pisces or a Cancer type of deal. And you got Cancer, you got Juno, you got Venus in your Cancer. And that he would be with some type of Aries. And your Aries, your first house is Taurus, where there's Aries. Seventh house would be some type of Mercury or Gemini type of situation, but that's definitely around relationships. And well, either way, your Venus is just leaving Gemini. Vertex crosses Cancer again. Even if Saturn was a karmic relationship, it's still Cancer. Now Libra, and again that's why you see you two could be soulmates. Pluto retrograde in Libra, y'all both got that. And Libra and Aquarius. So that's why I said so y'all two would have a possibility of being soulmates, but it's definitely not twin flames. And if we go over to your chart, so I guess you were born under a new moon because you got the sun and moon there, both at 23 degrees. Your Vesta is in Gemini. Venus in Cancer. So like I said, that's a possibility of a soulmate connection. Your Juno, even your Juno. See, that's how you know I'm right, because your Juno is in Leo. That's who calling you. This person is calling you. And which house is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth house. But that's still Cancer energy. But it would still have to be like a Leo or a Cancer Leo type connection. And he really doesn't have that. That's who calling you. Whoever this person is. The 442. And that's also your True North Node, which is return. And then you also see, well, Jupiter just made it into your 5th house, which is still Leo. It's still Leo energy. So that's who's calling you. And in your 5th house, ruled by Leo, you got Virgo, which is his medium Coeli. And his 5th house is Venus and Aries. And then when your Libra is, you got your vertex. So again, that could be some type of situation with a Libra, and we already know he's like that. But that is your vertex could be your soulmate or your twin soul, who is your twin flame. And then in your 7th house for a relationship, it's either going to be with an Aquarius or a Scorpio. And again, he kind of adds up to that because he's got Aquarius, Libra, and then Scorpio in the 12th house. It could add up to that, but it still looks more like soulmate to me than anything. Your love is a Leo, and that's the one who's calling out. All right, I know that took a lot, but yeah, you gotta understand. Whenever you're dealing with anybody that has weapons, you gotta make sure you know who you're dealing with. Because hate to say, and they tell you that in commercials. Oh, don't bring weapons in your home. Don't bring weapons in your home, because if you bring weapons in your home, it's probably going to be used on you or your kids or something like that. So you got to really know this type of stuff. You got to really, like, I can't water this stuff down. I can't turn this into, everything's not going to be a love story. And sometimes it is a love story, but it's going to be some bruises before you get there. You got to be mature enough to go through the pain to get to the pleasure. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So this whole bubblegum YouTube stuff, I can't be down with that crap. I'm not here for that. I'm here to tell you what's on your chart, tell you the truth, and you got to be mature enough and strong enough to deal with it. This is Get. Remember, I got a lot of offers going on, a lot of sales going on, and we don't just do natal charts. We do everything. Anything that's looking into like life, looking into the future, or whatever, we do that. Anything like that. We also do research. We do a lot of services. Best thing to do, 2 things you should do. Always have the most recent services offered and price list. Also, you can always ask and see if we do it. And also just check the channel, because there's usually some information there about what's going on. Those are 3 ways you can find out what's going on. Because like I said, I think I do the best services. To be quite frank, I'm the most honest. I do the best, very thorough, and I'm very affordable, because I know my prices are nothing compared to what these people are asking for. And it's not because I can't get it. I just am not about ripping people off. Like I said, I've been struggling my whole life, so I know what it's like. So that's it. This is Get, and God bless.